relationship of individual accounts to the deficit. By that we mean, what are the net budget authority outlays of the account over the 3 years presented in the budget? Because in addition to planning, we want to tell what's happening right now, we also have to tell them the most recently closed year. 2010 budget, that'll be 2008, and we got to reconcile with what Treasury says actually happened in 2008. So we have to worry about this. Brings a mixture of unexpired and expired accounts. Okay, and this is what a program of financing schedule looks like for those who may not know. I'm not going to go to unless somebody has a question. But we're showing the obligations at the top, what it is that you spent, what is it that you incurred obligations for. We have budgetary resources, the balances we talked about, the new budget authority, and go through what expired or withdrawn in the last year to get down to what you have at the end of the year. We then have the budget authority, and we'll talk a little bit about that's important later. We then have what we call the change in obligated balances, what you started with, what adjustments, what came, what went, what your ending year, what the end of year is, and then the outlays. Then the offsetting collections, those amounts that come in, where the offsets, then we get down to the net budget authority and outlays for that account. What other terms should I know? Spend out rate, the outlay rate. This term is used in setting up the outlay calculations. Outlay rates are entered in budget authority for the current budget years. These are percentages of the total VA that will be outlaid over the time period calculated by max. New versus prior indicates whether the outlays result from new VA in that year or prior year VA. This was, it helps us, these things help us in determining what the actual deficit may be for a given year in our calculations. And it was made very important during the era of budget deficit reduction and control, if you will, where we had to look at and we had to separate what outlays were coming from new authority, which we could affect. That is, we could say, the new authority, we could reduce it by an amount we want to reduce the deficit. We could reduce the new. We couldn't go back and reduce the old. So we had to have a way of knowing what was new and what was old, and that's why all these, some of these things came up. Used. Prior versus new indicates whether the outlays that result from new VA. This is what it looks like in the system. For those people who use the system, this is the outlay calculator. Waterfall. Got so much VA, you can use 88% in the first year, 11% in the second year. Yeah, 11%. This is how. Mandatory versus discretionary spending. Discretionary spending means the budget authority that is controlled by annual appropriations acts. For example, the money in your or my salaries and expense account. Mandatory spending means VA and outlays controlled by permanent law rather than the annual appropriations. An example, Social Security. The President of Congress can change a law to change the eligibility criteria and thus the level of spending for mandatory programs. But they don't have to take annual action to ensure the continuation of spending. Mandatory versus discretionary, again, back when we were back during Graham-Rudman and Budget Enforcement Act days, we had to have a way of controlling. We could control annual appropriations by putting a cap or ceiling on spending in order to have a way to measure changes to mandatory or to other spending, entitlement spending, if you will. We had to have what we'll sometimes refer to as pay-go or pay-as-you-go. A way of saying, if you increase mandatory spending, you have to reduce mandatory spending in that. Okay. So we had But that's all, folks. Any questions?
Yeah, here.
Yes.
Is there any reason why you, I'm not sure if it's purposefully or not, at discretionary spending means the VA that is controlled by annual appropriations, you did not mention outlays? Any reason why here? In the mandatory spending, you did say means the VA and the outlays, correct? It is reasonable.
Okay. Yes and no. Mandatory outlays are usually a direct result of the VA that's provided. That is, if you have something like Social Security, those people are eligible, those checks are going to go out as soon as possible. Okay? So when you control and you change the eligibility, you control the budget authority and you control the outlays that are going out. Okay? Because it's usually just it's a time-phase thing. It's not. You don't have to worry about what you would have to worry about in discretionary is when is the person going to present the bill? When is the outlay going to occur? I know when I incur an obligation, I sign the contract to build that boat. I don't know when it's going to be delivered. I don't know if it's going to be delivered 4 years from now or 5 years from now. But with mandatory spending, again, I go back to that, if I change the law and I affect how much is going to go out the door in Social Security, I know, I have a better idea of when the disbursement is going to come. Okay, Marlon? She come online? Whoa.
Yes, speak up.
She's got control of the internet. He's back? Is that what you're saying? Okay. 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 Someone's asking for a copy of the presentation, I think. That means it? Okay.
I think that's him on the phone asking.
Yes. Oh, yeah, but I was saying, because she had a way of getting it to him.
It's on there.
It's on the website.
It's posted on the website.
Yes. Yes.
Is that it? Hello? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I have a question.
Yeah, one question. On the slide about balances of VA, I often get confused between carryover and pipeline.
Say that again?
Between the terms carryover and pipeline, our agency uses that, and I'm wondering if carryover is when it's the unobligated balances, and then pipeline is when it's obligated but not yet dispersed.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, the pipeline is totally new to me. Carryover is, again, you can have carryover unobligated and you can carry over obligated.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
if you have an obligated balance, it is carried over. It's
depends
gone
on
from
how-
one year to the other and you still haven't made the disbursement.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
that's going to be specific to your agency. Yes, ma'am.
On the New Year account VA,
Yes.
is there a threshold, I mean, it can go on to 100 years?
What?
I'm sorry, just a New Year
No,
account.
not New Year, no year. is what you said.
Yes.
Okay. What do
Three
you- okay.
dimensions of that. So, yeah, it says no year, meaning there is no end.
That is correct. It is spent. It is available until it is spent.
So it can go on for how long? Forever?
Until it is spent.
Okay. So in other words, if this is under its spent, then the 5-year cancellation
It
phase
has
is not
nothing to do with it. You said the 5 year does not apply.
Good, good.
No year. Okay. Any other questions? If not, thank you. And good, happy budgeting.